welcome aboard. It's dawn on the boat here, and I am up in the Pacific Northwest. It's windy today, and it's been raining on and off a little bit. Still a little on the chilly side up here. It's eclipse day, and we don't get to see the eclipse up here in the Pacific Northwest. It's way over on the East Coast. However, I caught the last two. The full total eclipse went through Wyoming. We made it up to watch that one. And then there was the one where there was the Ring of Fire thing. Not too long ago, we were down in Torrey, Utah for that one. So I don't feel like I'm missing out too bad. But if you're seeing that, I hope it was cool. And it's a neat thing. The next one, as I understand it, that will be a total eclipse coming across the land here in the U.S. isn't for 20 years. But then the next year, there's another one. So yeah, just timing. But anyway, I got a fair amount of stuff to do this time around. My cameras came in, so I'm gonna see if we can't mock up the camera system and make sure I got it all figured out, and then physically install it. So we'll do that. The seals have invaded the end of the dock, so I'm 2 boats from the end here, and down on the end there's a pump out station for your pumping out your holding tanks and so forth. That whole pier finger is full of seals right now. So the pier's like weighted down so much it's almost in the water on the end. And they are out there just bellowing at each other and making noise and being all stinky and stuff. But it's kind of cool. So I'll see if I can't throw you a little video of them in here. But yeah, that's what's going on. A fair amount of things to do as always. And so I'm just going to start doing some of them. All right, well, it's that fun time that when we get to play a little like it's early Christmas in April is what it is, I believe. This package is our cameras, I believe, from the company name is Iris Innovations. Now, this took longer than I thought to get in because I did think I was ordering it from their warehouse in Florida, but as it turns out, it came over from Gosport, Hampshire, Great Britain. And it did get hung up in customs for a little bit. I had to go online and answer a question. So let's pop this thing open. And I've got my monitors up there. I think maybe what I'll do is we'll dummy this thing up on the table here and make sure it works and then start to deploy some cameras. So let's do that. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got our main interface box. We have this connector, which is just got two connectors in there. And that's going to go into our 12-volt power input. Okay, all these are keyed, so they have to go in the right way. All of them screw on because this is a marine grade system. And there's going to be our power. This will go to our switch panel and be powered when we turn on a switch. Okay, so there's power. Then the next device that they sent me was the PoE switch, which is right here. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to take this RJ45 network cable that they sent us, and that's going to go in here and up to port 5 on our switch, which is noted as not one of the PoE out switches. So this is our in switch into our controller. Okay, and then we've got a camera. So what I've done with the camera here is I've unboxed it, and I have hooked up the RJ45 connector here. So let me just show you one of those. So this is what it looks like on the RJ45 connector. This is the waterproof part that slides down the cable and twists on there to waterproof our connection there. This connector is not going to be used because this is 12-volt power by itself if we were going to supply power, but we're not. We're going to supply power through our Cat5 cable here. So we are not going to use that little connector there at all. But essentially what's going to happen with our network is we're just going to plug that guy into one of the ports, and when the switch comes up and turns on, it will supply power through our network cable to our camera to turn our camera on. Now, how are we going to get power to that switch? Well, it's got a little power switch here on the side, or a little power receptacle on the side. We'll just stick a screwdriver in there and push the prong down and then slide a piece of cable in there. Not my favorite looking connector, but it'll be okay. And then they did send me a chunk of just little cable with 2 conductors in there, red and black. So we'll give power to that. That will give power to our camera on one of these PoE output ports. PoE just stands for Power over Ethernet. So this is just an Ethernet cable, nothing special about it except for that waterproof connector. But 2 of the pins on that RJ45 connector in there are going to supply power to our device. Okay, so that's pretty standard. If you've been working with the network world, you're familiar with PoE. If you're not, it just means that you're getting your power from this switch, so you don't have to supply your own power to the device independently. Then we have our HDMI cable that they supplied us. I've got my little monitor back here in the background. Our HDMI port is right here. Just going to hook that up. And there's our HDMI connection out to our monitor. And then really, that leaves us with, so essentially this cable right here is going to go into the switch. So I'll set it onto the switch so we can kind of see where that's going to go. And then we just have to give this guy some power, right? This cable right here is noted as 12 volt plus out and 12 minus, or the plus and minus on 12 volt red and black output. So that's these 2 wires right here, or output 12 volt. And then these 2 are our CAN bus, green and white. And then we've got our rotary controls here. I've already put the connectors on these, so I'll just take one of these off real quick and show you what that looks like. I got ahead of myself a little bit there. So this is just a little 5 conductor connector, and again, it's keyed, so it can only go in one way. And we put that on there, tighten that guy up. And then this cable is wanting to get 12 volts in on red and black, and then the CAN bus, green and white. So my expectation is that this is going to go into our control unit, and essentially these cables will all be connected together. Red will go to red, black will go to black, green to green, white to white. That will happen for both of our controllers. They're both the same. And this output, 12 volt output, will also connect to the red and black in this wire. So what will happen is none of these 12 volt wires will be hooked to a switch coming directly from the 12 volt bus, except this guy, the main one, into the control unit. And then as it turns on through a switch, so we'll put this on a switch. When we flip on the switch, we'll power the PoE switch here. We'll power our twist connectors here. Our monitor has actually got a transformer, so it needs 110 volt, but we'll plug that in under the dash up there somewhere, and then the monitor will have to be turned on manually, unless this might turn it on, because a lot of times your HDMI port coming live will turn your TV on. So that's what we've got. The installation guide is here. Not too much to this, though. It should be pretty straightforward. My only question is, this port is labeled as an HTML5 port for connection to the chart plotter, but I think it's going to be, this cable is going to go in there and be my connector to my remotes here. So we'll see if we can't get this hooked up and make a picture from there, go on to there. So all this stuff makes a picture from that guy, go there. This camera project is not going all that smoothly. So here's basically what I've done. I've wired power to one of my helm switches. I have wires coming out with a red and black, 12 volt DC power. And I hooked everything up the way I thought it needed to be hooked up to begin with. I had the controller interface box, HDMI port into it, out to my monitor. Had the little PoE switch hooked up to the HTML5 port, which is the only port that had output 12 volt. PoE switch is turning on when I turn everything on. The little control unit here, this thing is turning on when it's hooked in. But my interface box is basically never supplying a signal to my monitor. Now I've tried 2 different monitors. I got my little one and I have an old TV that's sitting here. I've tried 2 different HDMI cables. I've stripped everything off the interface box except just power and the HDMI port. Nothing. I turn it on. All my monitors just say no signal, no signal, no signal. At one point, goofing around with it, I did manage to get it to say it was getting a 720p signal, and then the screen kind of went black, and that I can't recreate that. So I never got that back. So I called Iris, their Florida office, and the gal that I talked to was very friendly and not very helpful. I said I need to talk technical support. I don't think there is technical support there. So she referred me to the same 2 guys that I've been emailing with back and forth already, and didn't really have a ticketing system to open a support incident with me, but instead sent an email to those 2 and copied me and said, hey, Don's having some problems. So but she said, well, the cameras need to get an IP address. So I have a SonicWall firewall sitting here. I set it up. I built a network on it. I built a DHCP server on it. I can verify that I can go through that SonicWall with my laptop and get a lease from my DHCP server. So the network is working. When I plug the network into the PoE switch, I can go through that switch with my laptop. The lights light up. The switch can be plugged into the SonicWall, and then it can be plugged into my laptop, and that works fine. As soon as I plug one of the cameras into it, though, all the lights go out on the switch, and it acts like it's kind of dead because the laptop will then lose its connection to the firewall. So I have a ping running and it'll lose its connection. The cameras have these little this little transformer on them. So this is one of the cameras, and this is what plugs in. And I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but these little tiny holes here are LEDs. So the power LED comes on and remains solid. So that tells us, in my mind, that the PoE switch is supplying power to the camera. The link LED on the thing flashes 3 flashes and then goes off, and then 3 flashes and goes off. And so, yeah, I don't know what the heck is going on. So I tried plugging the interface box into the SonicWall to see if it was maybe looking for a DHCP address from the network. It's not. Or if it is, it's not getting one. It's not showing up. So I wrote those guys a big long email and I said, okay, here, I've tried this, I've tried this, I've tried this. I tried to methodically go through and explain everything I've done. I've tried their cables. I've tried some factory-made cables. Sometimes if I plug the camera in, one of them, like the one that I had already tightened up on the waterproof connector, seemed like that one, when I plugged it in, would kind of freak the switch out, and all the power lights on the switch, or all the LEDs on all the ports, would blink all at the same time, and blink and go out and blink and go out. So I don't know what the heck is going on, and I'm pretty good at this IT stuff. So I sent them this big long email and I said, I don't want to be presumptuous, but I can't find any documentation for the interface box that I got. On their website, when you go to the support page, and it says, oh, okay, click the drop down here and select your product. That thing never shows up on there. So I don't have a full user's guide for that, which annoys the crap out of me, man. I mean, I'm a little frustrated, I'll tell you. I spent a fair chunk of change on this system, and so far it's poorly documented, and it's just poorly documented. It's not obviously set up for an end user to build your own system. And this gal that I was talking to was kind of like the one stop for any help, and she didn't know how to help me. So she didn't really have a technician or somebody she could send me over to. So I don't know how big a company this company is, but I'm getting a little concerned. So that's projects on hold. I'm going to clean up a little and put some of the tools away for now, and then I will carry on with whatever's next until I hear back from those guys and they tell me what I did. They did, in the documentation for the camera, it says you're supposed to go download some little utility to scan the network and find the cameras. And that little utility acts like it wants you to create some user account somewhere before you can use it. But yet when you look at the about thing, it was written in Russia and a lot of the libraries are from China, and I'm not a very trusting guy in the IT space. I'm not really thinking I want to leave that little beauty on my network or on my computer for very long. So I told him that. I said I downloaded that little utility. It's not a very good utility, and if all you're telling me is you need me to scan the network and find some addresses, I got tools that will do that. So we'll see what they come back with, but I'm a little frustrated. It's been a fair amount of the day here. I've been kind of putzing around with this thing. I thought it would be easy to kind of mock it up and get it working, and not so. I'm glad I got to this point before I started drilling holes and hanging cameras, because I'd sure be frustrated if I had to take all this stuff down and throw it in the box and send it back to them. But anyway, that's where we are. Saturday it is. I'm on the boat here and I've had my breakfast already. The seals are barking up a storm out here on the end of the pier. I think I mentioned they've all moved onto the docks with us, so it's quite noisy and quite stinky part of the time. The guys that I have the quote from, well, actually I've got they're ordering parts and so forth to do the lithium swap for the house bank. We're out the other day and we looked at the wherewithal and took the bed apart in the master cabin back there to get back to the stern, so he could take a bunch of pictures and so forth and plan out the stern thruster installation. So one of the things that I've had on my little minor to-do list is down in the engine compartment right below me on the forward-facing wall, the old original battery charger is in there, and it's about a foot deep and foot and a half square. It's a great big thing, and I'm going to go down in there and see if I can take that down off the wall and get it out of the way, just so that we've got maximum amount of room possible for the new gear, because I don't really know how everything's going to fit down in there. And then I've got some other things I'm going to work on, but I'll take you down in the engine compartment with me for a little bit, and we'll see if we can get that charger off the wall. All right, here we are down in the engine compartment, and I'm going to move you around a little bit so you can see what we got here. So this is our forward battery box. You're sitting on the rear battery box, and these are both going to get some adjustment with the lithium, because basically what they're quoting me is like 3 batteries, where I've got, I think, 4 or 6 in each of these boxes. I think I got 4 in each box, so there's 8 of them all together. But so here's our hot water heater, and I'm gonna have to move you a little because you're not gonna be able to see what I'm talking about yet. So stand by, let's have a perspective shift here. All right, so here we are, and this guy is what I'm talking about, the old charger. Now, I don't know if you can see the cable. Let me move you one more time. All right, well, here's what I'm talking about. This guy right here, the cable has been cut on it. I don't know if you can see that. You can't see it very well. But the cable has been cut. It's no longer in service, and I'm gonna see if I can get that guy out of there today. So, we'll just see how it goes. I'm not sure it's gonna be too easy, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to keep the camera going and be able to see what I'm doing without you just seeing me and my arms in the way. So I think I'll just shut the camera off for now. I'll bring you back when I get it out of there and show you what we got. All right, well, there it is, the old charger. Again, it was had been cut off over here. There was one little control wire or something still hooked up to the thing. I'm pretty sure that up on the dash, there's a button that says RC. That is the other end of this little cable, I think. And not sure what that meant, but if that's what it is, I'll be able to get rid of that cable and or that switch up there. I asked the previous owner one time in an email what that was, and he said he didn't know. He'd never done anything in the whole time he'd owned the boat. So it's not in use. There's a water pump back there, and I believe that there's one down here, which is the main water pump for the house water system. But there's another one back there, which may be our deck washdown pump. And if so, sorry. And if that is a remote pump for the deck washdown, that's a good thing, because the deck washdown has not been working at all. There's no fitting on the end of it, so I would like to get that working, be able to wash down the anchor chain when it's coming up out of the muddy, murky depths. But I will get this heavy thing out of here. It's heavy, so little by little, 100 pounds here, 10 pounds there, 50 pounds another spot. Some of this unused iron is going away off the boat. All right, we're under our helm station here, lower helm, and this is indeed the cable that we just cut off, and it comes up here, and unfortunately it's got a million cable ties on it. It's got a whole bunch of extra cable wound up there. That loop right there is it, and I believe, I'm almost 100% sure, up behind that light it goes to this switch in the dash right here, because this is also trace engineering, which is what the charger was. So I've pushed that back down through. I'll go down and cut some cable ties. We'll get that thing out of there and have one extra spot on the dash with a hole in it and nothing in it. But maybe what we'll do is we'll put one of our stereo controls over it. Or our light control, perhaps. This is our extra light thing that I haven't hooked up yet, or I haven't programmed yet. That could probably go here. Hide most of that. We'll figure it out. So let's figure it out. All right, 10,000 zip strips later, I have got this out of here. There's one stretch of wire about a foot long up here that's zip stripped to all the back of these cables that are going to our battery monitoring system that we have now. So I just cut it at the top and the bottom. I'll leave that one little strand. But this is how many zip strips I cut off to get through that. So that's out of there. And again, I'm now 100% sure that was some kind of like a reset control or something for that old charger, which is no longer in use. So I can close back up the under the helm station here for now, and I'm going to go back down below and pull away. There's a bunch of oil cans and stuff down by that other pump that I identified that I think might be my deck washdown pump. And I'm just going to go have a look at that and see what we think about that thing. I'm pretty sure that is a deck washdown. That tube is going up front, so I'm pretty darn sure that is what that is. And where's the inlet coming from? Down here, it's this hose here, which is going down probably to a seacock. See it on this guy. No, it's got to be where it's going though. So what we got to do is figure out if we are any way, shape, or form getting power to that thing. Let's look looking a little haggard right there, like it's been maybe cut or something. But then it just disappears down into the rest of the cable nightmare down there. So probably what I'll wind up doing is I'll bring the meter down and see if I can get it into those crimped on ends there, and just make sure we got power here. And then if we do, it could be that that pump is dead and we'll just need to put a new pump on it. But that's good news. I knew there had to be something here for a deck washdown. Well, some stuff got done, some stuff did not. I got that charger out, the old dead charger, but I have not made zero progress on the camera system. I have not heard anything back from the guys that were supposed to be emailing me a set of further instructions and or steps to take. So here we go. Don't get me back up on my soapbox about taking good care of customers, because I will light these guys up. So anyway, you've probably all heard me before, you know, giving grief to people who don't take good care of their customers. And so far, I'm a little frustrated with this company. So I'll be back to talk about cameras once I make a little progress on that. But for now, I got to go. I'll see you next time around.